Hello everybody, it's Audrey. Welcome to day 20 of the Summer Scrapping Series. Today my guest is Heather from Heather's Crafty Life, and she has a YouTube channel also with all kinds of videos on it. So please go check out her video today, and I really think you'll love her cute page from today. So I am super excited to share this page with you because it's a little bit of stash busting, it's a little bit of new stuff, it's a little bit of mixed media, it's a little bit of everything today. But I love these photos I have of my kiddos kind of jumping into the water during a sunset, so you only have their silhouettes. And it was not a very nice sunset. It was very hazy, so the water looks gray. So everything kind of looks gray and beige in the photo. So not very exciting photos, but I love in terms of color, but I do love the action in the photos. So I found this piece of pattern paper. It's from an Echo Park collection called Capture Life, which was not, well, I would not say it was a summer collection, but just kind of a, one of their regular collections. And I love the, what are these called? Like not sun flares, but the little, the bokeh look of this paper and how it kind of matched the sun in my photos. So I went over it with some gesso and a spatula, and I wanted to create some texture with that, and I wanted to add in some color into the background. So I picked out some corals and some peachy colors and a little bit of pink and a little bit of teal. And the colors I am using are a couple really old shimmers vibes. One is Fiesta, and I think, do I use the pink one? No, I just use that Fiesta one, and then I have the Heidi Swapp Color Shining Coral, and then the pink one, I think, from shimmers is called Cotton Candy, and I really love that pink. And then the teal is the Heidi Swapp Color Shine in teal. So I spray that with my heat gun, not spray it, but heat it up with my heat gun to get it to dry. And I went back and added a few purple splatters with another shimmers called, what is it called? Grape Escape, I think. And I had to definitely blot the purple because it was really dark, but when I blotted it, I liked that it was much lighter. And I thought, you know what, let me try to do some stamping on this page. So these are some stamps I bought at a local scrapbooking and rubber stamping expo back in May. And yeah, so I wanted to stamp in white, and I'm trying some white ink, and it doesn't work. So I don't know, I always want to stamp in white, but I can't find a white. I don't know really anything about stamping. I am not much of a stamper, but if you have any suggestions on white ink that actually works on top of a gessoed or a painted or some type of mixed media background, I would love to know about it because I don't know about it. So instead I pulled out a gray distress ink, and I thought it was going to be too dark, and it really is. If I don't blot it, I did not want dark circles. I just wanted kind of like little subtle circles that kind of look like the concentric rings that form when somebody jumps into the water, like a puddle, and how those rings kind of spread out across the water. So that's what that's kind of the inspiration for my page here. So I'm going to do a whole bunch of circles. So when I stamp those on the gesso and I blot them with a paper towel, they seem to come, obviously you can see the color come off pretty easily. However, I think if this background was not gessoed, that it would be difficult to blot that extra color off. So I'm glad that the background was completely gessoed. And I love the way those rings look. I love the way the color looks in the background. Really pretty. So as I mentioned, these circles are going to kind of be a theme. So I went through my stash and I pulled out some other papers that I thought would kind of go along with the page here. And this kind of aqua one is an Echo Park one. This white one with the little plus signs or X's is from Crate Paper Poolside. You can see I have my Pink Paisley Summer Lights collection there. I was going to try to use all of my stash for this page, but as I'm using it and doing these colors, I'm like, oh my gosh, it looks just like that Pink Paisley paper. And I wasn't intending that at first, but I must just be hooked on this collection because I absolutely love this collection. So it must have kind of been in the back of my mind when I was adding this, the mixed media on my page. So I punched a few circles from that collection as well. And I'm using different size circles, a couple big ones, a couple medium ones, and a couple small ones. And I usually do odd numbers of each color and each size because to me that is just more pleasing to the eye than sometimes than even numbers. But I mean, I guess it depends on the distribution and, you know, what look you're going for. So I did not want to use pattern papers that were too busy because I liked the subtleness of the background. So I picked some papers that were very, did not have a very striking pattern, that were, you know, very light and pastel and subtle patterns. So now is where the bulk of my time comes into this layout, because I am going through every single summer scrapbook thing I own. I'm not kidding. I felt like I went through my every summer collection I have, looking for the perfect stickers or something to add. I found this sticker sticking to the inside of a bag, and I'm pretty sure it's from this crepe paper. It's either from the poolside or from the pier, which is an earlier collection. I really like the dark blue with it, but and I don't end up using it. I hate to spill that now, but I don't end up using this sticker. I love this sticker. When I see that right now, I still love it on this page, but I think I find something that I like better. But, you know, there's always so many possibilities with any single page, and you kind of just gotta pick something and move on, because I tend to just stare a while and look a while at a page before I'm happy with it, and I put things on and pull things off and put it back on again and try them out and audition them 10,000 times before I commit to it. So I wish I was a faster scrapper, but I am not. So I'm going through this poolside collection, the ephemera pack, trying to find some things. I like that splash tag, but then I thought, okay, I don't want to bring in too much dark blue. I liked just having the word summer there in the middle, the dark blue, so I took off that splash tag. Found a couple other swimmy things, but here is where I decided to change things up. So I liked this die cut in the pink paisley pack, and you can see my desk is now full of a whole bunch of other stuff because, like I said, I went through a ton of other collections looking for the right things. I kind of liked how the phrase "light it up" went with these photos, and you know, just having the sticker that says summer is kind of boring. I kind of liked them grouped together like this as well, but then I thought I was getting into too much color. Too many darker colors. So, all right, so I'm gonna keep going with this for a little while and see where this kind of takes me. So I decided that I couldn't just have that one, you know, super bright lighted up title, that I would have to bring in some other little subtle orangey and pink elements. So I have this vellum sticker sheet that goes with the Summer Lights collection, and I like how those stickers add in a little bit more color. And I play around with this summer title again and again. I've layered, by the way, a chipboard underneath my photos, and I've also layered a gold foiled like acetate sheet that I kind of cut in half and just kind of layered underneath each corner of the photos as well. I also have a hard time finding, like, I didn't want large embellishments. I wanted small, tiny embellishments that didn't, you know, stand out too much against the page. So I found this little like kind of purple starfish and this blue seashell. They came from an Imaginess die cut pack. I really liked that kind of purpley pink starfish, but it was almost too bright. I mean, it was really fluorescent. It doesn't look that bad in the video, but it's really super bright. And I was just like, maybe it's too bright for the page. I guess it's not too bad if I had it covered up with a shell, but I decided against it eventually. I do like the shell. I like the teal color of that and the placement. And now I'm just kind of trying to layer things around my photo. You can see I took those little wave chipboards that came from the pink paisley chipboard for the Summer Lights collection, and I cut it in half because it was one piece. And that's probably my favorite piece on the chipboard sheet, are those little waves. This is from a Simple Stories pack. I'm telling you, I went through like everything I had, and I went through so many die cut packs and looking for stuff. Sometimes I like doing that because it reminds me of what I have. Other times when I'm just trying to get a page done, it gets frustrating because I can't, you know, seem to find what I'm looking for. I'm just not satisfied with what I have. So I don't know, but I'm very happy with the way that this page ended up, so I guess it was worth it in the long run. So I'm adding these kind of little phrase stickers around, and I'm trying to kind of balance them like around the page. And I'm trying, do I put them on each circle, or do I just put them on a couple circles? But I'm still trying to kind of make the eye flow nicely around the page. And then these little tiny stickers, they're teeny tiny fish. I found them in the dollar bin at Michael's, and they are so cute. And they're all different colors, and I love them so much. I should have bought another pack because I'm sure I'll be using those a lot on all of my lake pages. That's one of my things, by the way, with a lot of these collections, is there are a lot of beach themed and beach themed things and beach sayings, and we're not at the beach, we're at a lake, and so we don't have surf and we don't have sand. We have sun and fun, but we don't have a lot of those other beachy things. And well, I guess we kind of have snail shells, but not real seashells. But anyway, so I have a hard time finding things that kind of go with my lake pictures. Okay, a couple more pinkish things in there to pull in the pink from the title. I got those sunglasses. I like how those pick up on the pink. I decided to map my photos. I wasn't sure if I was going to, but when I started getting all of those, started layering all those embellishments with the photos, I thought I needed to kind of give them a little bit wider border and something else to ground them, to make them stand off a little bit from the background. I had to kind of piece this one together because I didn't want to cut another 6x6 piece of paper just to fit a 3x3 photo. So, because the photo is 3x3, but the mat is a little bit bigger than the 3x3. Okay, so it's time to start gluing everything down. So I'm just going to glue my circles down and I kind of just lift up the circles and put glue underneath because I am so scared about moving a circle, a millimeter to the right or left where I didn't have it, where it might be out of place when I go put everything back on. So, I guess I could trace them with pencil lines or whatever, but, I just lift them up and kind of add some glue underneath. These acetate sheets were a little difficult to glue onto the back of the photo, so I stapled them underneath the photo onto the mat. So that's what I was doing there with my stapler. And I'm just going to kind of group all these layers together. Now, because I had that piece of chipboard, the little chipboard frame underneath the top of my photo there, I had to add some more height to the bottom of the photo on the back. So I just put a piece of foam just on the bottom. I didn't want to put it over the whole thing because it would have made it stick up too high. So I wanted something to kind of even out the height of that. And I do the same thing with my son's photo on the bottom because I had that chipboard piece right there that says August, and I wanted to make sure that I had the height on the back of that photo, or on the top of the photo, so that it wasn't kind of off kilter. Okay, so what am I doing here? I'm going to go through and add some stitching in. And I have to tell you that the stitching was what kind of initially inspired my design. I did a process video a couple weeks ago where I suggested that I was going to stitch some circles in a shape. So I traced my template with my white pen, and then I stitched back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, trying to stay within the lines of my pen so that the tips of my stitching lines, or rather the ends of my stitching lines, stayed on the pen line I drew with my white pen. And I saw in a process video somebody drawing with a white pen. I thought it was genius. So I've learned to draw my shapes with white pen, and then you don't really see them that much on the background, especially on lighter backgrounds. So I love the texture that stitching adds, and I could imagine doing this with all kinds of shapes, triangles and squares, and maybe stars might be tricky. But yeah, so I love doing this technique. I had considered stitching around the outside as well, but I thought that would kind of take away from the kind of back and forth stitching that I had. So I love the texture that adds, and I'll show you a close-up at the end of that texture with the stitching. Okay, so I'm happy with that, and I'm just going to start gluing the rest of my embellies down here and gluing everything pretty much where I had it. And I'm just going to speed the rest of this up a little bit quicker here because it's really just me putting things down with glue where I had it. So you already saw me design it, so I'm just sticking it down now. What other little bits do I add here? Let me see. Okay, so I do this a lot, cutting the white borders off of die cuts and ephemera because sometimes the white border drives me crazy. I like it much better without the white border, so I'm going to pop that off the page. And then I went and was looking through my flare. I thought I would add some flare to it to kind of create some cluster. So I add, of course the circle shaped flare goes along very well with the circles in the background. So I find a couple pieces of flare that I think work. Well, I find one that's kind of like the one in the top left is kind of like a wood grain. It's kind of like almost has a little bit of pink tint to it, but I love the wood grain. And then I decided to put another one in underneath the other corner of the bottom photo, and that is from Coco Vanilla Studios and their Endless Summer collection. Going back and adding a couple more splatters and blotting the dark purple off a little bit more. What else? Enamel dots, I think, come up next. Yep, a couple of those. And I do not show this, but I do go back through and add in a couple of sequins as well, and my date and journaling, and that is pretty much it. So I really love this page so much. I just love the colors, and I love how the photos really stand out. I've said this before, but I have a hard time scrapping sunset photos and silhouette photos just because of the color, but I think that this did it justice. So there is the finished page. Happy with how this came out. I just love the circles, and I love the light colors, and I love that stitching. So there you can see the detail. You can kind of make out the line I drew there as well. So lots of fun layers too, and yeah, so there it is. So I only have one more day left of the Summer Scrapping Series, and that will be tomorrow. So be sure to check out tomorrow's video. Also be sure to stop by Heather's Crafty Life channel as well. So thank you so much for being here, and make sure you stay scrappy, friends. I'll see you tomorrow.